Hi, this is Ryan Avery, and today we're sitting down with Wiener. He is a Holocaust survivor and also the author of From a Name to a Number. Today we're going to talk to Alter and get his story and base it off of the premise of using your voice to make a difference. I have 20-something questions that I'm going to ask him that you sent in and want to hear from Alter, and we're looking forward to getting to know more about Alter. So Alter, can you first just explain a little bit about your background and why specifically you wanted to do this interview?
The interview because you asked me.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
yeah, yeah.
My background, as you know, if you read my book, I come from a little town called Chrzanów in Poland, 22,000 population, half Jewish, half Roman Catholic. Uh, Most people are very religious.
Mm-hmm.
They were, I went to the synagogue 3 times a day, and
Wow.
people who belong to the church, they're also very pious. My father was quite well off according to the lifestyle and standard of living in those days. He had a wholesale store of groceries that he inherited from his parents and his parents from there. We lived over there for many generations. There are certainly beautiful values instilled in me as a child, and I do mention it in my book, that I'm very appreciative the way I was brought up. And this is the family, the community. It was so beautiful, nothing to compare today, really, to be very objective.
Yeah.
And I always give an example. I had to go to see my grandparents every weekend just to say hi. They never gave me a toy or a game. They couldn't afford it. It wasn't available. But it was my responsibility. On New Year's Eve, I had to knock at the door 24 times in our building and wish everybody a Happy New Year. I'm giving you just an example. My father went to see his ailing mother every day. These are beautiful values. And then I went to a public school in the morning, it was mandatory, and then in a religious school in the afternoon, 6 days a week. And all this normal life, I would say, came to an end on September 1st, 1939, when the German army invaded Poland. And if you look at the map, you'll see that my little town is very close to the German border. So people try to get away. How do you get away? Nobody in my little town had a car. I know for an Oregonian it's very difficult to comprehend. How did people survive without a car? But that's the way it was. Nobody had a car. And the train didn't run, as they should, so people took personal belongings on the back and walked into the interior of Poland to avoid, hoping to avoid the Germans. Poland is a huge country, 37 million people. So, and those who could afford, they hired a coachman with a horse-drawn wagon and tried to get away. And that's what my father did. And we did try. I say we, it's my stepmother, my older brother, myself, my younger brother. We managed to get away about 40 miles. Took a long time. All the roads were clogged with refugees. And when we did arrive at that location, the Germans were there already.
Oh.
So we didn't accomplish anything by our attempt. The Polish army was no match to the mighty, mighty German forces, and Poland was occupied within a very short time.
Now, I remember in your book you say that your stepmother was trying to leave earlier, and your father said no, he wanted to stay.
Well, yeah, my stepmother was a Zionist, if
Right.
you're familiar with that concept. She believed that the future for the Jewish people is only in Palestine. You know? But my father was so attached to that community. They lived over there for hundreds of years.
Right.
And he was very reluctant. If he would have listened to her, probably.
Do you feel any resentment towards that decision?
No, because he was not an exception.
Mm.
This was the general. People were very attached to the location, to the community, and it was very difficult in those days to make a decision. In general, you have to remember, to the best of my recollection, because I was a little child, family life was the focus of the life, and so was the community. Very rarely did anybody, a child, should move away to another city even.
Right.
Today, the father lives in New York and the son lives in Florida. It would be inconceivable in my time. It would be out of disrespect. People were very close. And my father had 11 siblings. So he said, how could I just go away?
I see.
Yeah.
Uh, One of the things that, and for everybody who is watching this right now and listening to it, his book is called From a Name to a Number by Walter Wiener, a Holocaust survivor's autobiography. I've read a lot of books in my life, and I know you have too, but this is one that you have to pick up because it shares the story, and I think that that's why I wanted to do this interview in the first place, was to continue this story and to ask you more questions. One of the things that I wanted to know about the book, why do you think it is that you survived and others did not, and what kept you going?
This is the same question that I was asked not a long time ago on Channel 2, KTU. I don't know. I will never know. It's a combination of many elements. And one of them might be plain luck. Why did I survive and not my brother survive? And what kept me going, this I do know. I wanted to survive. There are people who gave up. I saw it. They just stopped eating altogether. We didn't have means to commit suicide. To commit suicide, you need a weapon or you need a rope. Over there, we had nothing. So the only way to really to stop suffering is you stop eating, then you die. Or in the last camp in Wallenburg, there was a rectified fence. You approach the fence and you electrode it and you are gone. I was brought up in a very religious home, and this was instilled in me that only God can determine when I'm supposed to die.
Right.
So, and then I was young. I was maybe a coward. I was afraid to do something, and I wanted to go back to the home that I was uprooted from.
Yeah.
And I do believe today, retrospectively, that this is really, they gave me one of the components of my survival. I wanted to survive. I didn't have life before. I was so young.
Right.
But I did see a lot of people who just gave up.
Yeah.
They didn't want to take the suffering. Only at one point, if you remember my book, I asked a guard. He beat me so badly that I pleaded with him, kill me. And he wouldn't give me the pleasure of killing me. He wanted me to suffer.
Did you ever lose faith?
If I ever lost faith, it was so ingrained in me that that's where I was brought up. They took away from me my prayer book. I continued to pray every day because I remembered most of the prayers by heart. And I did hope that God was going to come to my rescue, whatever God is. I say it in my book at the end that I'll never understand him. But at that point, I continued to pray, and on the way to work, at work, from work, in the camp.